According to our perspective reading, the ethical dilemmas surrounding psychological testing are complex and not always clear cut. Different psychologists, may have varying opinions on what is considered ethical or professional in a given situation. However, ethical and professional practices are not subjective and are defined by guidelines set forth by professional associations like the American Psychological Association and others. These guidelines are crucial for all practitioners to adhere to, regardless of personal opinions. Over time, professional and ethical standards in psychological testing have become more stringent guidelines, continuously narrowing down the acceptable uses of tests. This shift is partly due to the increase in legal actions related to testing practices. Organizations involved in psychological testing have established guidelines to outline the ethical and professional standards that should be followed during assessment. These standards also apply to test publishers, corporations, and individuals involved in creating and administering tests. The guidelines set by professional associations are essential for ensuring responsibility and ethical testing practices. Additionally, there are specific considerations and guidelines for testing cultural and linguistic minorities that need to be taken into account. Gregory, 2014. Psychologists diagnose and treat their patients by observing and quantifying their behavior using psychological tests and evaluations. Following these evaluations, experts are better able to pinpoint the source of issues and provide tailored treatment plans. Learning disabilities and mental disorders are only two of the numerous problems that may be assessed using a battery of tests and exams. These assessments reveal both a person's strength and fault. Only qualified clinical psychologists should administer and evaluate these evaluations. Tool in the toolkit for effective treatment, psychological testing is tailored to each patient's specific needs. APA 2022. Professional responsibilities of test publishers. Test publishers play a crucial role in ensuring that psychological tests are up to date, valid, and reliable in a competitive industry. However, there is a lack of comprehensive guidelines for test reversions. These guidelines cover various aspects such as different types of revisions, when to start a revision, the revision process, and how revised tests should be utilized. Test publishers need to establish agreement on ownership, budget, and royalties early in the revision process. Consider the economic circumstances of test users, help users transition to revised editions, and provide training on using revised tests effectively. On the other hand, test users are responsible for embracing change, staying informed about tests, modification, and promptly adopting revised tests for the benefit of their clients. Developing comprehensive guidelines for test revision is challenging as it requires balancing obvious aspects with practical guidelines that revisions teams can follow. These guidelines differ from standards or policies as they offer practical guidelines for practitioners. The study aimed to create guidelines for the test revision process by reviewing existing resources and incorporating experts' input. Cranger et al. 2022. Professional responsibilities of test takers. Test takers are responsible for ensuring that psychological tests are regularly updated and revised to maintain their validity and reliability in the competitive testing industry. Despite the lack of comprehensive guidelines for test revision, test takers must be aware of the importance of revising tests and the challenges involved in the process. Test takers should follow a set of guidelines that cover various phases of revisions, project, including planning and initial investigation. These guidelines emphasizes the need to improve the quality, accuracy, and fairness of tests. Consider feedback from test users and address issues such as construct reinforcement, normative information, and test administration. Test takers should also be mindful of economic considerations, ownership agreement, and the responsibility of both test publishers and users in the revision process. Overall, test takers play a crucial role in ensuring that revised tests meet the necessary standards and are effectively utilized by practitioners. Cranger et al. Testing individuals representing cultural diversity. Cultural inclusivity and diversity in dementia-friendly communities. An integrative review by Iman Shatnawi. The topic of cultural inclusion in dementia-friendly communities, especially for persons from varied cultural origins, tackles challenges such as stigma and language, emphasizing the need of targeted programs and harnessing cultural leaders to promote inclusiveness. The research performed a comprehensive evaluation of current dementia-friendly communities throughout the world, revealing both facilitators and impediments to cultural inclusions. The authors emphasize the necessity of overcoming these obstacles and leveraging facilitators when building, implementing, and assessing dementia communities for ethnic populations. They provide insight for academics, legislators, and healthcare professionals working to build such communities in multicultural situations, presenting themselves as champions for diversity. Shatnawi et al. 2023. Cultural inclusivity and diversity in dementia-friendly community, an integrated review by Amati Shatnawi et al. The article emphasized the ethical issues surrounding language barriers. psychological testing, particularly for individuals from cultural and linguistically diverse backgrounds. It discusses the importance of cultural inclusivity and diversity in dementia-friendly communities, highlighting the barriers faced by these populations, such as stigma, language barriers, and lack of awareness about dementia. The study conducted a systemic review of existing dementia-friendly communities globally, identifying key facilitators and barriers to cultural inclusivity. The authors stressed the need for tailored initiatives in leveraging cultural leaders to address these barriers and promote inclusivity, emphasizing the importance of applying a cultural specific lens throughout the design, implementation, and evaluation of dementia-friendly initiatives to effectively cater to diverse population. Chantanawi et al., 2023. Reliability, common sources of measurement errors. Studies on reliability and measurement errors of measurements in medicine, from design to statistics explained, medical researchers. Mo Kink et al., 2023. The article discussed the importance of reliability and measurement errors in medical research, particularly in assessing the influence of various sources of variations on measurements outcomes. Common sources of measurements error include different raters, technicians, machines, occasions, backgrounds, environments, modes of administrations, and software. Reliability is defined as the proportion of total variance in measurements due to true differences between patients, while measurement errors refers to the systemic and random error not attributed to true changes in the construct being measured. Strategies for improving measurements include better standardization, restricting sources of variations, and taking the mean score of multiple measurements. Standard error of measurement is used to analyze measurement error, while the intraclass correlation coefficient is used to analyze reliability. This paper aims to help medical researchers understand, design, analyze, and report studies on reliability and measurements error effectively. Mo Kink et al., 2023. Reliability, how measurement errors can impact reliability. Measurement errors can impact reliability in various ways. Reliability and measurement errors are crucial measurement properties that assess the influence of specific sources of variations on individual measurements. Measurement errors can arise from various sources such as different raters, technicians, machines, occasions, environments, or modes of administration. These errors can lead to inconsistencies in measurement results affecting the reliability of the instrument. Measurement errors is defined as the systemic and random error in a patient's score that is not attributed to true changes in the construct being measured. It refers to the precision of numerical size of a score and can impact the accuracy of the measurement. For example, in a study, Achilles tendon cross-sectional area measured by MRI, a measurement error of 1.3 millimeter 2 was reported. This error indicates the range within which a patient's score may vary, affecting the reliability of measurement instrument. That's et al. 2021. To improve reliability and reduce measurements errors, strategies such as better standardization, restricting source of variations, or taking mean score of multiple measurements can be employed. Analyzing reliability with intra-class correlations, coefficients, C, and measurement error with standard error of measurement, SEM, can help in understanding and addressing these issues. In conclusion, measurement errors can significantly impact the reliability of measurements in medical research. Understanding and addressing these errors through appropriate study designs, study methods, reporting practices are essential for ensuring the accuracy and validity of measurement instruments in clinical settings. A comparison of three types of validity discussed in the textbook: content validity, criterion validity, and construct validity. Taken from our prescribed reading entitled Psychological Testing, History Principles and Applications, 7th edition, Boston's M.A. Pearson, written by Gregory R.J. in 2014. The term content validity refers to how well the items on a test represents the variety of behavior that are intended to be measured. Making a spelling test using a predetermined selection of words for third graders is one example. The validity of the test relies on the ability to capture the target behavior domain. The coefficient of content validity, which is based on the assessment made by professional judges of the test items, may be used to quantify the validity. Get ready when users, examiners, and test takers see a test as a legitimate, we say that it is valid. Although it is not a technical kind of validity like content criterion related or construct validity, it is significant for the test, social acceptability, and public impression. Relating to criterion, when the test is able to forecast how well an individual will do on a designated outcome measure, we say that it is valid. Two varieties exist: concurrent validity, which involves simultaneous measurement, and predictive validity, which involves future measurements. When a test is legitimate, it means it can reliably assess how well a person did on a certain test or research, Gregory 2014. extra validity concerns related to testing. Psychological testing, history principles, and application discuss extra validity concerns relating to testing, goes beyond traditional technical validity considerations. These concerns include slide effects and unintended consequences of testing, as well as social, legal, and political implications of using the test. The decision to use a test may be influenced by factors such as its purpose, the extent to which its goals are achieved, possible side effects, and alternative opinions. The concept of test validity has been broadened to encompass value, implications, and social consequences, reflecting a growing awareness of the importance of extra validity concerns in testing with 2014. Review of Ferguson, Colson et al. And Mathieu. The first article, a comparison of three self-report measures of intolerance of uncertainty, an examination of structure and incremental explanatory power, and a community sample written by Ferguson T.A. in 2013. The article discusses the concept of intolerance of uncertainty and its importance in clinical research. It highlights the development and refinement of measures such as the intolerance of uncertainty scale, the obsessive beliefs questionnaire, and the intolerance of uncertainty index. To assess various studies have been, to assess IU, which is uncertainty index, various studies have been conducted to validate these measures, ignoring factors like factor structures, correlations with other criteria, and potential difference in assessing IU. The research aims to determine if these measures capture distinct aspects of IU, or if they all assess the same underlying construct. The text emphasized the need for further research to compare and validate these measures comprehensively. Fergus. Factor structure of the HAR psychopathy checklist, youth version, PCLYV, and adolescent females, Colson et al., 2000. The article discusses the importance of factor models in validating constructs of psychological tests, specifically focusing on the psychopathy checklist scales. The author analyzed various factor models proposed for the PCL scales, such as the 4-factor and 3-factor models. And discussed their applicability in different populations, including adult males, adult females, and adolescents. They highlight the challenges in determining the factor structure of psychopathy in females due to conflicting findings and the need for larger size for more robust analysis. The article emphasizes the significance of understanding how the factors, such as structure of psychopathy, may differ between genders. and how this impacts the interpretation of psychopathy assessment and their correlates. The authors stress the importance of considering the factors, structure of psychopathy in both boys and girls to better understand the underlying mechanism of disorder. Wilson et al. 2013. Thirdly, the third one in review, factor structure of the B-Scan 360, a measure of corporate psychopathy by Mathieu et al. 2013. The article discussed the development and validation of the B-Scan 360, an instrument designed to measure psychopathic features, psychopathic features in workplace settings, specifically in corporate environments. The study involved large samples of participants rating their supervisors using the B-Scan 360 with the exploratory and confirmatory factors analysis, supporting a reliable 20 items full factor model consistent with the established psychopathy checklist, revised PCLR 4 factor model. The article highlights the importance of studying corporate psychopathy and the need for appropriate assessment tools in organizational settings. The researchers also addressed the challenges in validating the B-Scan and the use of online surveys, particularly through platforms like Amazon's Mechanical Turk to collect data for research purposes. The study aims to contribute to understanding of psychopathy and corporate settings and its potential impact on organizational behavior and decision making. That is from Mathieu et al. 2013. Clinical versus statistical prediction. The debate between clinical versus statistical prediction is discussed between the following articles. 1. Should I pack my umbrella? Clinical versus statistical prediction of mental health decisions. Counseling psychologist by Agestador S. Spengler, 2006, and Mill's contribution to clinical versus statistical predictions, Journal of Abnormal Psychology, Grove W.M. and Lord M., 2006. The article discussed the debate between clinical statistical prediction techniques for mental health decisions. In response to comments from other scholars, they highlight the importance of statistical predictions in clinical decision making and the need for psychologists to be trained in using statistical techniques. Close the door, please. Close the door, please. Y'all, excuse me. The authors emphasize the historical debate between clinical statistical prediction, acknowledging the bias towards statistical techniques, and mental health decision making. On the other hand, Grove and Lord discuss the availability of statistical prediction models in clinical practice, particularly in the context of forensic decisions, where such tools are common. and even more common. Point out the challenges in predicting outcomes in mental health compared to criminal justice settings due to the availability of follow-up data. The author suggests that programs like the ones outlined in their research can significantly benefit counseling practice. Grove et al. Both articles address the role of statistical prediction in clinical decision making, with Agador et al. Focusing on the debate between clinical and statistical methods, with Grove and Lloyd emphasizing the challenge and advancement in developing statistical predictions models for mental health decisions. Overall, both articles stress the importance of incorporating statistical techniques in mental health practice while acknowledging the complexities and limitations of such approaches. First, analysis. The ethical issue in the first scenario involves a consulting psychologist, who plans to evaluate a 9-year-old boy of Puerto Rican descent for a possible learning disability. The psychologist intends to use the Wechsler's intelligence scale for children, 4, WISC-4, and other tests, but due to a larger barrier, the psychologist asked the child's after-school babysitter to act as a translator during the assessment. This raises concerns related to Standard 9 of the APA Ethical Principles and Code Conduct, particularly regarding the appropriate use of translators during assessment. Standard 902C states that psychologists should use assessment methods appropriate to an individual language, preference, and competence, unless the use of an alternative language is relevant to the assessment issue. In this case, using a translator may not be the most appropriate method, as it could introduce bias or inaccuracies in the assessment process. Additionally, Standard 903 emphasizes the importance of obtaining informed consent when using the services of an interpreter in ensuring confidentiality and test security. Novotny, 2020. Overall, the psychologist in this scenario should carefully consider the ethical implications of using translating during the assessment and ensuring that the assessment process aligned with the ethical standards outlined in Standard 909 of the APA Code of Conduct. Second analysis, as a psychologist, I would respond to this ethical and professional quandary by highlighting the importance of adhering to the APA ethical principles and code of conduct, specifically focusing on Standard 902 and Standard 903. It's crucial to ensure that assessments are conducted in a culturally and linguistically appropriate manner as outlawed in Standard 902. In this case, using a translator to communicate with the child during the testing may be necessary to accurately assess his abilities in both languages. However, it's essential to obtain informed consent from the child and his caregiver. As stated in Standard 903, the psychologist should explain the use of a translator, ensuring confidentiality, and discuss any limitations that may arise from the translation process. Additionally, the psychologist should document the efforts made to conduct the assessment in a valid and reliable manner, despite potential language barriers. Overall, the psychologist must balance the need for accurate assessment with ethical consideration regarding informed consent, cultural competence, and the use of appropriate assessment methods. By following these ethical guidelines, the psychologist can navigate this professional quandary in a responsible and ethical manner. Novotny, 2020. A summary of article, future directions in psychological assessment, combining evidence-based medicine innovations, psychology, historical strength. To enhance utility, Eric A. Youngstrom. The article discussed the importance of psychological assessment and how it has been eroded in various settings due to factors like training, reimbursement, and utilization issues. It explores the potential benefits of combining evidence-based medicine innovation with traditional psychological assessment methods to more client-centered and clinical relevant approach. Emphasizes the need for psychological assessment and to demonstrate utility by adding value to individual care through aspects like prediction, prescription, and process. The article also highlights the disconnect between commonly taught assessment techniques and their actual utility for clients, suggesting a need for a shift toward more evidence-based and clinical relevant practices in psychological assessment. The article discussed the importance of combining evidence-based medicine innovation with psychological historical strengths to enhance utility of psychological assessment in clinical settings. It highlights the erosion of training, reimbursement, and utilization of psychological assessment and the need to integrate EBM to make assessment more client-centered and clinical relevant. Practical examples are provided to illustrate the relevance of incorporating EBM into psychological assessment. For instance, the concept of utility emphasized focusing on adding value to individual care by demonstrating predictability, informing and treatment choices, and tracking progress over the course of treatment. The article suggests that assessment methods should address prediction, prescriptions, or process to enhance their clinical utility. In a clinical setting, the article emphasized the need for assessment to have clear indications of utility for clients. It questions the validity and relevance of commonly used assessment tools such as the Wechsler test and Droid Person in terms of individual prognosis or treatment efficacy. By integrating EBM principle, assessment can be more evidence-based, aligned with patient preferences, ultimately improving the effectiveness of psychological assessment in clinical practice. Overall, the article underscores the importance of evolving psychological assessment practices by integrating EBM principles, emphasizing utility, and aligning assessment with evidence-based practices to enhance their clinical relevance and effectiveness. Youngster, 13. Research hypothesis evidence-based treatment for anxiety-related disorders effective in improving intolerance of uncertainty. which we refer to as IU in this, among individuals with certain patients and intervention level factors modeling the therapeutic effects on IU. Instruments to measure intolerance for uncertainty. The intolerance of uncertainty scale, IUS, can be used as an instrument to measure intolerance for uncertainty in individuals undergoing treatment for anxiety-related disorders. The Fergus 2023 article compares 3 self-report measures of intolerance of uncertainty, i.e., the Intolerance of Uncertainty Scale, IUS, the Obsessive Belief Questionnaire, OBQ, and the Intolerance of Uncertainty Index, IUI. The study examined the structure and incremental explanatory power of these measures in a community sample. Results from conformity factor analysis supported the distinctiveness of the items of the 3 measures, but a higher order factor indicated that each measure assesses the same construct. The study found that each measure of IU tended to provide incremental explanatory power beyond one another in predicting variances in symptoms. Measures suggesting that all 3 measures assess IU, with each capturing a distinct aspect of the construct. The study supports the use of all 3 measures to assess IU due to their unique contributions in understanding the construct. Fergus 2013. Thank you for joining us. Goodbye.